towards you. So I take the opportunity to say it. Eleanor Brown was a graduate of Parsons at the time, and Parsons had prestige, and Parsons developed a name more than we did, faster than we did, because Parsons was first, and Parsons was training people in other things than interior design. So they were a bigger school, and they had fashion and art, and, you know, a wider range of students. Just as, so they were known for that. Pratt, which didn't have interior design courses until the 40s, Pratt was known as an architecture school, and its orientation, even in interior design, is still architectural. FIT, a lot of people don't even know FIT has an interior design department, because FIT was always known for fashion, and still is known better for fashion. Our advantage and disadvantage, depending on how you look at it, is that we're one major. So we specialize and you get the best of everything in interior design. On the other hand, you can't take a fashion design course here if you wanted to take one course. So it's, you know, it's both positive and negative depending on what you're looking for. But anyway, she was a professionally trained designer at a time when most people weren't. Did this mean anything to clients? I don't know, but she opened a business that still exists today and is the longest lasting. She opened it in the early 20s. It's the longest lasting interior design firm run by a woman. It is now run by, well, the president, and now the chairman is Betty Sherrill. That's who Mrs. Brown turned it over to. Betty Sherrill's daughter, named Ann Pine, is now president. And that was, I think that happened last year. Macmillan has about 60 odd employees, last I was told. Initially, she hired only Parsons graduates, and most of them were women. One of the graduates she hired was the Billy Baldwin, who, was Albert Hadley. Albert Hadley, and we'll talk about him later. But he left partly because he said, I felt as if there were architects working there and there were draftspeople, but I was one of 5 people in the decorating department. The others were women. I figured I wasn't going to get very far, which probably was true. But what did she do? She became the woman who William Odom, I'm talking in circles a little bit, but as I said, you don't have to memorize this. This is mostly stories. William Odom, who had been her professor at Parsons, said, here I am in Paris, I'll be your agent. So, and he said, you know, open up your business. And she said, what do I know about opening up my business? You know, I'm just a kid, I'm just out of school. Well, her father, I forgot this, is that her father bought this townhouse where she opened up an office. You know, so she came from comfortable enough circumstances. So Daddy bought her the townhouse, and William Odom, her professor, was her agent who sent over furniture with which she furnished her clients' apartments. And what she did in decorating that I didn't finish saying, you go shopping, I keep changing who's the designer, you go shopping, you bring everything over from Paris for me. I ask you just to buy me dining chairs. Once I have the dining chairs, I need a table to go with. I want to know what color the dining room is. I want to know what kind of upholstery should put on it. So that's how you end up decorating for me. But you really, the business began as being furniture shoppers. And well, not even agents, just shoppers, which is why the commission system first developed in designers. You know, the way designers always charged was a markup on what they paid. Nowadays, increasingly, you should be charging by fee for your time and your talent. And nowadays, I think depending on how you run your business, it's a mix. But at that point, it was all markup, because that was the way you worked. You didn't go around, you didn't charge for your talent separately. And part of becoming more professional is charging, you should be charging me by the hour because you know more than I do. Mrs. Brown's Dining Room, which was widely published, was the cover of, there was a book on Macmillan after the firm was 50 years old. And again, this is traditional furniture, but used in a very contemporary way. And this, which is not, I apologize, it's an ugly yellow, and the room isn't. I haven't seen the room, but I've seen good photographs of it. But this slide just came up very bad. Not changed in 30 years. Now, this doesn't mean that she didn't refresh things. This doesn't mean that she didn't redo the upholstery. This does mean that she kept the same furniture though. And one of the things that I look at this room, and okay, I'm personally a fan of contemporary furniture. But I look at this room and I have to admit that a room with contemporary furniture is going to date more than this room. I really couldn't tell you when she designed this room. And I don't think you could tell me when she designed this room. Now, maybe there are differences in furniture arrangement. Maybe a designer today would say, no, now we would use the 2 rugs, we'd use 1 rug, we'd loosen up the arrangement. But basically, traditional design tends to be more timeless than a lot of contemporary design, because by its very nature, contemporary design calls for you're using current aesthetics, current fashions, current accessories. And this doesn't. That was just something to think about.
Are the walls yellow as well?
The walls are, yes, but as I said, they're paler. The ceiling is, I think, off-white. But it's not such a, it's a, I'm trying to think, this is really, well, no, this isn't lemon. This has too much green in it. It's like a, oh, you know what, like, sort of like lemon meringue pie. Sort of more that yellow. It's lovely. And as I said, I looked actually on the web to try and get a better photo, and all of the images might have been taken off this one. Were just too greeny. But you can see that the room is very pretty. Now see, this is more along the general tones, even though these walls are ivory, but like those curtains. This was Anne, and I think it was Edsel Ford she was married to, in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. And what you're looking at here, that was, okay, there's a Robert like an Adam fireplace and a classical French carpet, and mostly French pieces. This was the way, in a baccarat, probably a baccarat chandelier, this was the way money furnished, and still continues to. But this was, in a way, one of the reasons why I say look at it, and I don't know that you can say this is exclusively a style that Macmillan perpetrated. Macmillan's strength as a firm, although they have added designers, they have designers who do very good contemporary design. Their strength as a firm in general is timeless, traditional, and comfortable, not too pretentious. This room is a little pretentious, but it was the Fords. But generally not too pretentious, comfortable looking, like this. Very tasteful, very elegant. Okay, Dorothy Draper was a celebrity designer. I put her in here because you need to know about her as a designer who was a businesswoman, who knew design could be a profit-making business for the clients. She did residential interiors, but her specialty was hotel design. And what she did is she went to the clients and said, you will make more money if you hire me to design your place. I can fix it so that you have more customers and so that you can charge more money for it. That's a totally different thing from coming in and saying, I can make your place beautiful. And it's what made her appeal to businessmen. She was rather upper class. She lived in Tuxedo Park, upstate. She started her business as an agent for architects. She negotiated, she got architects together with clients and got a commission on it. And then she found an opportunity to use her talents to help people make money. Sutton Place was apparently not an upscale residential area. There were a lot of these very ordinary tenement-type houses. And a developer had acquired them and wanted to market them to a little bit better crowd. And what she did was painted them. The exteriors were painted black, with white moldings and red doors. And they sold. I mean, just by a cosmetic effect, put her, you know, this is one of her first ventures. And she did apparently very elaborate presentations. I know a fair amount more about her because there was an exhibition on her at the Museum of the City of New York a few years ago, and there have been several books written about her, and she wrote a couple of books, about which I'll tell you, okay, the Carlisle Lobby. Her look was called, it's been dubbed modern Baroque. Not in the, it wasn't all Baroque, but when you see the fittings, she'll use sculptures, she'll use a lot of plasterwork ornament, not in this one, but I'll show you in some others. So it's jazzed up, very fussy design, but only with accent areas. She has a lot of black and white, a lot of dark colored walls, which were very new. She did burgundy walls with white moldings and sort of forest green walls with white moldings. That was a very new look. Here in the Hampshire House, which the contrast, a lot of black and white tile on the floors. You'll see this in a couple of the exhibits I showed. But pieces like that kind of plasterwork.
Is that a sconce or kind of a